On this episode, we discuss Love Hurts.
Love bites, love bleeds. It's bringing me to my knees. Def Leppard.
Thanks, the Oxford familiar Def Leppard's quotations.
Notable quotables.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Flophouse. I'm Dan McCoy.
I'm Stuart Wellington, and here at the Flophouse. Wait,
Oh.
who's that over there?
Guys,
Over the hill.
Guys, don't... oh, sorry, I was late. It's me, Elliot Kalin. Oh, sorry, I almost didn't make it. But there's time
okay,
now.
Elliot.
There's time at last.
There's all the time in the world. Just don't break your podcasting glasses. Okay, what
Yeah.
do we do here?
Hold on.
This is a podcast where we watch a movie that was either a critical or a commercial flop, and then we talk about it on this
Oh,
episode.
This is what I
yeah.
finally understand.
yeah.
Actually,
finally.
that's probably the most succinct summary of
I know.
the show you've ever
Ever,
done.
But
yeah.
we're gumming it up by talking about it now. So,
Okay,
as-
let's not praise you. Sure. I'll come to
Yeah,
bury
let's-
Dan, not to praise him.
Yeah.
Hand me that
yeah.
shovel.
Yeah,
I'm not
Dan,
sure
Dan's
it's-
therapist texted me and was like, "Can you minimize Dan some more?"
that's what I really need.
That's the problem he
My
has.
therapist got in touch with you. Dan's getting too
Yeah, we
big
should.
for his britches.
Yeah, we go out for drinks once a week.
Dan
The
needs
problem
what
is too much self-confidence.
Yeah,
Dan-
we yap about Dan.
I'm saying that prescribing for Dan what we in the therapy business call a smackdown.
Yeah.
How raw is this SmackDown? Now let's
Guys, we got to talk about Love Sharts, right? So we'll get to
no,
it.
no,
but
love
yeah.
hurts. Love hurts.
Oh, right. Oh, what did I watch?
Whoa.
So this is this is part of the Ke Huy Quan
Assance.
Assance, the resurgence. And I just want to say up front, love this guy, loved his child performances, loved him coming back, everything, everywhere, all at once. I think he comes out of this movie smelling surprisingly good, considering how this movie eats up people who I've enjoyed before. But
yeah, that's fair.
but the movie is not that great. Not to get
Dan-
ahead of myself.
Yeah, Dan's
Oh,
being
Dan-
nice. Dan's being nice up front because he's gonna be a mean and bad.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just like I feel
Yeah.
bad because I like
You know
this is a
when
guy-
Dan's complimentary at the top that he is going to be a fucking savage during the movie.
I
I
movie
feel
talk.
Yeah,
bad.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is a guy who I have a lot of fondness for, who hasn't come back, and he's getting his starring role. But I wish it was a better starring.
But
role.
it's so symptomatic of any time a actor,
Wins an
especially an
Academy
actor
Award.
that you like, wins an Academy Award for a supporting role.
Yes.
Mm.
Well, because who else is in this movie? Ariana DeBose, who won the
Yep.
Academy Award for a supporting role and has been in crap since then. Like,
Yeah.
is Craven.
Craven?
I call it crapping. But,
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
but this,
You're the savage one today.
Thank you. You have two people experiencing what I would call the curse of Cuba Gooding, or Cuba Gooding Jr., that is, not Cuba Gooding,
Thank you.
the musician, his father. But yeah, you're exactly right, Dan, that it is exciting to see Juan in a starring role, but you wish it was not this
Yeah.
movie. You wish it was not what I'm going to preview, what I'm going to call what feels like a warmed over Tarantino ripoff script from 1996.
It's that, and it's also a real nobody of a John Wick. It's it's all of those things.
Yes,
But anyway, so let's talk about it. We meet.
that's what we're here for, according to what you said earlier.
We meet our lead, played by Quan, Marvin Gable. He's monologuing about what he loves about Valentine's Day, which is sort of this lame stab at a thematic thing for this movie that doesn't amount to much ever.
This
And
is
it's the start of a number of voiceovers that feel very much added in post.
Yes,
Mm,
there's I mean a lot of there's a lot of ADR in this movie that is not very good. There's that I'm sure that they tried their best, but a lot of this movie feels like it was finessed at a later date for some
Yeah.
reason that we can only
This movie
guess.
is 83 minutes long, and it is
Nice.
And
nutty.
no one sets out to make an 83-minute movie in
Yeah.
the year 2024, 2025. Yeah.
It is nutty how much like there's clear ADR papering over things. Like there's scenes where like Ariana DeBose is like just explaining the plot to people who should know it already,
Yeah.
with her back to the camera, and you're like, this was all added later.
Yeah. And I will say the movie kind of keeps And I wonder if there must be a longer cut of it somewhere, but the movie kind of keeps forgetting that love is the theme that it's supposed to be hitting, and then remembering it, and then in voiceover really hitting it hard. And it feels a little bit at times like you're watching a kid give a book report about a book that they didn't read that closely, and every now and then they're like, oh yeah, and there's a dog in it too.
Yeah.
And the dog is important too. Yeah, that kind of thing.
The back cover mentions love, so yeah, love is important.
Mhm.
Love
but,
Hurts, land of contrasts. There's many ways you could talk about Love Hurts.
My hypothesis is
love helps, but it also hurts. The dichotomy of love.
In conclusion, Love Hurts is an 83-minute film. Thank you.
Marvin seems to be a mild-mannered real estate agent.
I have to assume that's exactly what he is, Dan. He couldn't be anything else.
No, this is a man you don't want to fuck with. But as we are introduced to him, he's riding around town on his bike. He's recycling bottles. He's getting mad that people draw mustaches on him on his real estate posters.
he seems kind of like a nerd, right?
Yeah.
Like a little bit of a boring nerd who's too into his job.
And this sort of opening montage is about all we'll get in terms of character development for this character. There's so little setup for why we should care about any of these people, but
sometimes that's not a bad thing. Like a good movie sometimes uses the shorthand of our appreciation for the performer to build a character, and like I am on his side right from the start because I like him. I like this performer. But they don't give even the.
It's like Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yes and no. In that the whole joke of Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder is, can you believe Tom Cruise is playing this character? Like that character the joke doesn't work with a performer
but the
who's not
physical
like Tom Cruise.
transformation, Elliot.
Well, that's what I'm saying. To see that character is not funny unless you're like, that's Tom Cruise underneath all that anti-Semitic makeup that he's wearing right now. So here they're really playing off like, we know you like this guy, but it makes it hard. I feel like the qualities that make him likable really fight the idea that, as we'll discover, he is a monstrous killing machine when he gets set off.
Also during this opening, just because it briefly comes into play later, I mentioned that
there's a property brother?
There's a rival real estate guy played by one of the property brothers.
Which one?
I don't know. One who acts.
It's either the one who's married to Zoe Deschanel or the one who's not.
Yeah, one of the
There's
two.
not a third.
I don't think it's the third one that they
brother.
keep chained in the attic of all the houses that they show on the show.
And the theme of this real estate guy is that he got a karate gi on and he's doing karate stuff.
I will say
he's a tough guy.
I will say I was at first personally offended that a property brother was acting in a movie that I was watching because, but at the I don't know. There's something about the height that the property brothers achieved in the entertainment world that seems baffling to me. But I gotta say, he comes off pretty funny in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to it, but it's a minor high point of the film. I think.
But he gives maybe the best comedy performance in the film.
when one of his characters' posters, like we see a glimpse of it, I first was worried it was Zachary Levi.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck. And then when it wasn't, I was like, hell yeah, anybody but that dude.
Yeah. You know what? I'm okay with Property Brothers. Unless this episode's going to come out after it turns out one of them is a monster or something. But I'm okay with Property Brothers until I learn
only
that.
one though, and you'll
and
never
you don't know
guess which one.
And so you have to have a moment where you have a gun, and the Property Brothers are like, shoot him. He's the evil Property Brother.
We meet his assistant Ashley, who's played by Leo Tipton. I'm going to briefly say this performer uses they them pronouns, and in the absence of any evidence that the character doesn't also use such pronouns, I'll try and remember to use them. But I apologize for my brain slips.
And of course, I spent the first 10 minutes being like, where do I know them from? And
America's
it was from
Next Top Model.
I was going to say Crazy Stupid Love.
Oh, yeah.
They were the babysitter that was in love with Steve Carell, and Steve Carell's son was in love with them.
Yeah. And
I guess
Ashley,
I'm the only one who knew them from their history as a juvenile figure skater.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just reading that right now in their Wikipedia entry.
Oh, wow.
Well, the thing about Ashley is that they aren't as enthusiastic about real estate as Marvin, and they're thinking of quitting. Marvin tries to go in his office and is immediately knocked out by some mysterious person, and he wakes up with his hand stabbed to his desk with a knife, which is the sort of injury that would cause so much more pain and trouble than a movie like this acknowledges.
That is an injury that looks like it would sever nerves. Like you're losing the use of fingers, and instead he's just like, ah. and that's it.
The
Now
other
I'm going to
day
use it to
I
punch
was
people for the rest of the
Oh,
movie.
that's the movie.
The
yeah.
other day, I was taking apart a frozen drink machine, and I was unscrewing like a bolt or something using like some pliers. And
Story checks out so far.
I managed to pinch the tip of my finger, and it like turned into a big blood blister, and it was gross. But it was like the amount of pain and then subsequent pain and annoyance for the rest of the next couple days.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even a stab through the hand. That was just a
No.
mush of a fingertip.
Yeah.
Turns out this stabby knife belongs to a bad poetry writing assassin called the Raven, who throws around little sharp feathers and has blade arms.
What's the blade arm part of it? Why is that the Raven? Was that part of Edgar Allan Poe's?
I guess it's kind of
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you remember it being Once Upon a Midnight Dreary, as I pondered weak and weary, over many quaint curious volume of forgotten lore. A raven came and slashed my throat. Oh no, I said.
yeah.
But no one heard me.
But no one heard. As I gurgled on my blood, loosed as some scarlet flood, and so forth and so forth. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
He shows Marvin a Valentine that is signed by someone named Rose. And the Raven says that Marvin's brother is wondering why Rose is spreading love on
Well, what's
Valentine's
his brother's
Day.
name?
Knuckles. Now, not
And I was like, hell yeah.
not Idris Elba.
Oh.
No. This also, and this is something I shouldn't harp
Guys,
on. Yeah.
if this movie, the villain had been an animated video game character, I think I would have liked it
Amazing.
more.
Yeah, but they're still supposed to be brothers because
Yeah.
it's only a little bit strange from the fact that they're brothers, but one of them has a heavy accent and the other does not, which is
Yeah.
an interesting choice. So just go ahead and make them different types of beings.
Well,
It's like
also-
if Fozzie and Kermit can be brothers in the Great Muppet Caper, why not?
You know, Quan is Vietnamese and the brother is from Hong Kong, but Hollywood doesn't care. It's all the same to Hollywood. So.
Yeah.
I mean,
but-
Quan has played any number of Chinese characters.
No, I know
now,
it. It happens that way often. It's just funny to me. Marvin claims to not know where she is, and we have our first fight, and we see Marvin uncork his kung fu powers.
Now, what do you think about these fights? Because the director of this movie is a fight guy. Like, he's a fight
yeah.
choreography guy. But I found that the fights, I was kind of like, there weren't any that I was like super charged by, super thrilled by. I don't know.
I
Maybe
feel like everybody is capable. I
Yeah.
think it does feel like it's shot and then sped up. I could be wrong, but there was something that felt a little bit off, like enhanced with the fight sequences.
I think the fights are pretty good. They are mostly like sort of like the first level, though. Like, I mean, they're good fight choreography, but they don't have something else going on except for one that I'll single out soon.
Okay.
But
There's not a lot of like inventiveness, right? It's a lot of
Yeah.
blocks, kicks. They're not using their settings a huge amount.
I mean, I think a lot of the problem too, though, is also like you don't care about these characters, and it doesn't build. Like, I was going to get to it later, but like Rose keeps saying, like, "I need you to be the man you were." I'm like, I don't know, man. He seems like he's basically the same throughout the whole thing. Like, he's a little more concerned about not killing people at the beginning than he is at the end. But it's not such a difference in his brutality that you're like, oh yeah, now he's really unleashed.
The beast is out. Yeah.
You know, which I think is a problem. It should build, but anyway.
They do
He's,
actually, and they also do. I will say they also do the thing, which is always funny, where there's a group later on. There's a group of people attacking him, and you can see they're all kind of waiting their turn to get to get in because
Yeah.
that's the way it's set up.
Yeah. So he's able to knock the Raven out without anyone in the office party that's
Guys, if
going
you
on.
were a goon, you
No.
would probably wait for your turn, right? Because you're like, I've got all
more
these
polite.
moves. I've got all these fucking moves I've been practicing. I don't want to like bump into Jerry or whatever
and
while
it's
he's
all,
fighting
it's,
this
and
dude.
it's also it's just goon professionalism and respect.
Yeah.
You let the first guy have his shot, then you take your shot. You're not going to horn in on his fight territory.
Well,
Yeah,
'cause
sure,
you got to
sure.
work with these goons, you know?
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
and
If you're not,
maybe you
if
don't have a fucking vibe with someone else, you know?
Yeah, if you're not going to get murdered in this fight, then you're going to have to see this guy tomorrow. The person
Yeah.
you're fighting, you may never see them again. So who's the
Exactly.
priority? Yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
So Marvin goes to his
No,
boss.
and Dan,
What?
so
Who?
by goon you mean like a fighting thug. You don't mean someone who just masturbates a lot on the internet.
Yeah. I mean, you can be both.
That's a good point. You got to fill time between those fights.
Yeah.
So Marvin goes over to his boss's office. Cliff, played by Sean Astin. So we get a Goonies reunion.
It's a reunion.
Speaking of goons,
You're right. Goons back again. So what if the Goonies was about kids discovering masturbation for the first time?
I mean,
Oh,
kind
God.
of. If you look at the movie from a certain angle,
Oh, interesting. The treasure
you
hunt is really a metaphor for the treasure of our own bodies.
You went
and
that
hunting for what makes
direction.
that. Yeah.
Rather than being like, oh, they saw the Fratelli's influence and like, oh, I could be a goon in my career.
Yeah. Oh, I see. I should start beating people up and pushing them out of their houses or whatever.
Yeah. So Cliff gives him a cigarette certificate. A
Frame cigarette. He says Elvis once held this cigarette. That's why I framed it.
yeah.
I've been sick. A framed certificate naming him Regional Realtor of the Year, which really touches Marvin. He hugs Cliff and he's like, "You've changed me. You turned my life around." And he borrows Cliff's car to get out of there.
This is also really cool because Sean Astin wears his big 10-gallon hat, and he has this like active like a Texas guy.
Yeah.
Which added to my questions of like, where the fuck is this movie supposed
Yeah,
to
because
take
the license
place?
plate on his car says Wisconsin.
Yeah, and apparently it is Wisconsin, is where it's supposed to be set. It was all shot in Canada. though.
Yeah, so I
people don't move from one state to another.
No, but
ever.
but it is an interesting choice to have a guy who's like, I'm from Texas, I'm a cowboy, here I am in Wisconsin. but I do like that his office walls mostly have cowboy hats hanging on them.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
imagining, does he wear those or are those just his display hats? That was a touch that I did like.
Give
all
a
those hats.
character one thing and have them do it to the nth degree.
Yeah.
Well, again, speaking of goons, two goons named Otis and King are watching the office outside. King is played by Marshawn Lynch,
Yeah,
who I
after
think
his
is
star-making turn in Bottoms, right?
yeah. I think he's one of the ones who comes off best in this too.
I think so,
because,
too.
like,
It's fun.
he has like a naturalness about him. Like he just like, I don't know how big his range is, but he's got so much charisma and he seems like a real person who wandered into this very fake movie.
Yeah. He was the person that my older son was most excited about being in the movie. He didn't watch this with me. But when Love Hurts was coming out, my older son kept saying, Marshawn Lynch is in that movie. He's like one of the best players ever. Marshawn, and I said, he goes, what movie are you watching for this episode? Love Hurts with Marshawn Lynch. So he was very excited that Marshawn Lynch has a film
What's
career.
he play? What's he playing? What's his game? Magic?
Yeah. He's one of the greatest Magic the Gathering players there ever was.
Overwatch? Is he an e-gamer?
Yeah. He's one of the greatest pinochle players in America right now.
Oh, wow.
If you look at the rankings, yeah.
Cribbage.
He's a bridge master.
Man, fuck. So he's like good at the thing in the newspaper, right? The little bridge.
Yes, he writes
puzzle?
those.
Yeah.
He actually writes those. Yeah.
Shit.
Everyone's favorite part of the paper.
I hope it never goes away. That's one of those things like having a court artist instead of a photographer that I love that we still do it. I love the newspaper still gives people as a bridge column. Like,
Yeah.
Never get rid of that. When being a reporter has been banned by the government and Trump rounds up all the journalists and puts them into camps, I hope that he gives special attention to the bridge columnist and the bridge columnist gets extra rations of crusty bread. So because for all the work
he gets
that they're doing.
or he bans the bridge column, and that's what finally sparks the revolution.
He pushed
right?
too far. Yeah, exactly.
Well, anyway, Marshawn Lynch is King. Otis, the other one, is upset because he's having trouble with his wife at home. That's
This
sort of a
stuff is-
subplot.
This is kind of a subplot that's tied with the theme of love, but their conversations are very, very Pulp Fiction to Hitman having conversations.
It's like the classic like hitmen that are talking about like modern psychology.
Yeah, exactly.
They see Marvin leave, so they call to report back to returning Flophouse fave, Cam Gijande.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
He's playing Rennie Merlot.
We haven't seen him in years at the Flophouse,
no.
right?
No, it's
He's
been
been
a long
only
time.
making good movies.
Yeah.
Rennie's in some sort of mob lair. He tells the goons to follow Marvin. Maybe they'll find Rose. And meanwhile, he'll keep Knuckles in the dark. And why is one of Knuckles' own men keeping him in the dark? We'll find out.
After this. Hi. Are you worried about the lack of snails in your house? If that's a problem, get Snailby here. The only snail bait guaranteed to attract the number of snails you want in your house, if it's more than 0. And now, back to our show. I apologize, guys.
Is the lack of snails in your home like snails on the chalkboard?
Do you lay awake at night, missing the sound of quiet sludge creeping across your walls and floors? If so, there's only one product on the market that will do what you want it to. Snailby here.
I mean,
Don't fall for imitators. Mo Snail does not work. In tests, Mo Snail fails compared to Snailby here.
God damn it, I needed that. Anyway, Knuckles wants to find Rose because she knows where some as yet unexplained money that was stolen came from.
Rose
and
knows.
Rennie seems upset that Knuckles sent Raven to find her because he wants to find her for his own reasons.
Okay.
Dan, it sounds like we're in a hilarious and exciting scramble of characters.
Well, you know what? It should be. And I got to say, all this plotting is clearer with me explaining it than it is in the movie,
That
even
is
though
for
they
sure.
do a lot of explaining
Yeah.
of things. Also, Knuckles is drinking boba tea, which he loves, which I mentioned because it will become,
It's his
unlikely as
character
it
trait,
seems, a plot point later
Yep, do
on.
one thing and do it to the nth degree, like Stuart said. And his thing
Yeah.
is boba.
Yeah, he's Boba Nut. Anyway, Knuckles, Boba Fett's cousin, Boba Nut.
Yeah, his funny cousin.
Knuckles wants to find out why Marvin didn't kill Rose like he was ordered to, so he wants Rose alive, even though Rennie's like, she stole from you. You got to kill her.
The Boba Nuts ship's called the Slave Fun.
King and Otis.
He's the greatest bounty hunter / party clown in the galaxy.
Only keep him around, yeah.
King and Otis.
And of
catch
course,
up
he
to
captures Fun Solo.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Fun
Puts it in-
Solo. That's what you're doing when you're gooning. Fun Solo.
Yeah.
Who
That's
you're
when
ma-
you do it without guide wires or whatever.
Yeah, when you're masturbating, when you're going through Imperial Customs. Do you have a last name? No. Well, who are you masturbating with? No one. Fun Solo.
Oh, thank God they explained that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We needed to know where the term came from.
I guess masturbation can be fun. For me, it's deadly serious, guys.
It's a game of cat and mouse between you and your penis. But who's the cat and who's the mouse?
And we'll find out in the end, I hope.
Masturbation can be fun. Join the holy orgy. That's hair. Anyway,
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
King and Otis catch up to Marvin at his house, and it turns out they're the enforcers who replaced Marvin in the outfit. And they ask where Rose is, and they have a big fight. Where this is the aforementioned thing where I think there's a little bit of an extra level that I enjoyed, where he's trying to protect his Realtor of the Year certificate.
And
Yeah.
also not
whole
hurt
time.
them too much. He's
Yes.
not trying to kill these
He's
guys.
not
Yeah.
a beast. And there's one moment in this that I do like where they close him in a refrigerator, then pick up the refrigerator and then throw it across the room, and then he falls out of the refrigerator. And I'm like, okay, that's something I haven't seen a character in a refrigerator get thrown around since the Crystal Skull. So
I mean,
you know.
it helps that Kihoi Kwan is like not a huge dude, so they can take advantage of
I
his.
think that's the thing I think they start doing and they don't really take enough advantage of is the fact that it feels like the joke of the movie or the exciting thing about the movie is that does not look, I mean, the same with like Nobody, right? He's not a guy who looks like he would be a super tough fighter who can win these fights just because he's a smaller guy. And so having the fun of it would be having him surprise the other people with what he's so good at or showing that he's amazing at it. And I feel like it's so kind of, everything's kind of handled in such a de rigueur kind of like fashion that they never really get that point when you're like, oh shit, I didn't expect this little guy to be such an amazing fighter, but he's astounding, you know?
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. Like Marshawn Lynch has like a little like what like moment,
Yeah.
but it's not enough.
I no longer enjoy Frank Miller's Sin City comics the same way that I once did, but it's kind of like the moment in that first Sin City story where Marv finds the guy Elijah Wood plays in the movie that like kind of like the killer who just looks like a little guy, and that guy immediately turns out to be super fast and have like razor sharp nails. And you're like, oh, this could be a lot more difficult than we thought. Like that's the moment you want in this, but it feels like they don't really have it. Mainly maybe because he's, I don't know, even though they're building him up as like he's just an ordinary guy who loves, he's a nerd who loves his job. Like it never quite feels, the other shoe's going to drop. It never feels
and they
like
don't give
him really
enough
him.
setup to that. Like the rush to the first fight is so quick that like you don't really get enough of this character to actually give a shit about him.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like A History of Violence does a better job of this kind of reveal.
The great movie.
the great movie
History of
that a
Violence?
great director made. Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is Love Hurts doesn't stand up to David Cronenberg's work.
Yeah. Although Love Hurts is actually would be a good title of David Cronenberg's like a
so many.
If you
David
did a
Cronenberg's
retrospective
movies.
of his movies, Love Hurts would be a great title for it. Yeah.
Anyway, he escapes, but before he can drive away, he's tased by Rose, as we mentioned before, played by Ariana DeBose. And I want to say, I've liked her before, especially in West Side Story. I think she is downright bad here, but I don't think it's necessarily her fault. Like, this is like such a poorly written character, like such a like off the shelf, like chaotic force character.
Yeah.
And like the director doesn't seem to know what to do with her. Like it's a problem, especially because the fact that they're supposedly in love is the plot driver in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I don't buy it.
the fact that there's a 20-year age gap and they have like negative chemistry on screen and they almost never touch on screen, and it seems like they are in different movies.
I think it is a she definitely does not have much of a character to play. To borrow our friend Nathan's old phrase, she's in Twist, like she's a manic pixie assassin girl, and
she does have a rose tattoo on her arm, not the band Rose tattoo.
No,
that would be
she's
hard
a
to have
Tennessee
any-
not
Williams
the
fan.
Tennessee Williams play the Rose tattoo,
Or the band featuring Angry Anderson, who was in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
It does really hurt, and not in a fun Love Hurts way. It does really hurt that they have very little chemistry, and we're supposed to believe they have a history. And if those two characters weren't supposed to have a history together, I think this movie would work slightly better if it is like, who are you and why are you doing this? And they're discovering each other
why are
through the
you
process.
an agent of chaos in my life?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like in a what was the Life Less Ordinary sort of way.
Well, or any
Or even
number
like
of
or
screwball
something wild or something like that, or
comedies,
bringing up Bobby, and that's
Bring
bringing up
How is
Day
Bobby
Out.
formed?
yeah, bringing up Baba Yaga. That's the one where the Baba Yaga gets into Cary Grant's life and really throws it out of whack. Where's that? Where's that
Crazy
dinosaur?
chicken foot.
Where's that dinosaur bone I'm looking for? It's in my mortar and pestle, and she flies away. But Ariana DeBose does have one moment here that I like, where she tases Marvin and she tases somebody else, and for whatever reason, there's two kids sitting on a swing set watching her, and she does like a little flourish bow to them because they enjoyed seeing her tase those guys, and I like that split second, that bow. I really like.
Meanwhile, back at the office, Ashley finds the unconscious Raven, reads some of his poetry, is immediately smitten with him on the basis of this terrible poetry. King calls Rennie and is like,
Wait,
hey.
I have one more thing to say. His poetry is not bad enough to be funny. That's another missed opportunity.
No, it's
bad.
just realistically bad.
Yeah, it's realistic. It should be really hilariously bad, and then it's equally funny if they fall in love with him.
Yeah.
So
King is like, hey, this realtor's like nobody Baba Yaga. I'm out. And Rennie is like, hey, if Knuckles finds Rose, she's going to talk. She'll reveal it was Rennie and someone named Kippy, who haven't met yet, who actually stole from him. So they have to keep at it. And he's like, I'll find Rose myself. You goons go find Kippy, since he's the other loose end.
This is another issue with this movie is, for a movie where the plot is both super simple and hard to figure out, there's a lot of characters telling each other what to do and what they're going to do next. And it's like, we don't just have the characters doing this. Like, we don't see so many times that Cam Janet is giving orders to other people,
It is baffling to me that, like, I watched this movie and then I just, like, because it was so short, I just watched it straight to, like, watch it. And then I went back and skimmed over it to take my notes. And so much more was clear the second time around, obviously, but
I mean, that's good. That's like a Gene Wolfe novel. It's made to be rewatched, not watched.
Yes.
That's good work. Yeah.
but I was just confused watching it because I'm like, this plot is so essentially so simple. Why didn't it make any sense to me the first time around? It was just like a cavalcade of
Were you on
junk
edibles
happening.
or something? Or
What?
were you on edibles or something?
No,
I mean, I was.
I haven't had pot in months and months.
It would be a real dereliction of duty, Dan, if you were on edibles when you were watching the movie while doing the summary. I would probably court martial you and drum you out and tear your Flophouse patches off. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I will not tell Elliot about my choices.
Hey, Stu, as long as the summary comes through, that's okay. But if Dan's like,
Yeah.
I had
Wow.
trouble following this, maybe it's because
Wow.
I was intoxicated at the time.
Well, I wasn't. Marvin wakes up somewhere in a sweater with hearts all over it.
Hilarious, right, guys?
Ashley is leaving him a voicemail about the unconscious assassin in his office and reads a poem in a loving voice and quits their job. And then the Raven wakes up and those two characters start connecting.
Yeah. That's great.
Marvin has some voiceover about liking Rose and vice versa because the movie doesn't have time to do the job.
He likes the
of-
movie Vice Versa?
Yes, he loves vice versa.
He's like, I
Okay,
love
man.
Rose, but almost as much as I love vice versa.
Yeah, a crystal skull. Or
Now,
wait,
and vice versa
golden
is
skull?
vice
Was it
versa
the
is
diamond
the
skull?
that's the Judge Reinhold one,
yeah, that's
right?
the Judge Reinhold
Like
one. with
Father,
Fred
like Son
Savage.
is the Dudley Moore one.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
with Kirk Cameron.
Okay,
Then-
and,
there-
18,
yeah, he
18 again
wakes
is the
up-
George Burns one.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
And
and in Dream a Little Dream, Jason Robards is actually in a coma or something the whole
Uh-huh.
time he's dreaming.
Oh, okay.
But
That
Corey
he's-
Feldman is,
Yeah.
or Haim,
He's Corey Haim, yeah.
Yeah,
and then
but- and-
Feldman's all a supporting character.
And
Yeah.
Freaky Friday is the Jamie Lee Curtis one, and there's another
Yeah.
one of that coming out. Okay,
Mhm.
yeah.
Huh? You get another Friday or whatever it is.
What's the Piss in a Fountain one? What's the one?
That's
That's the switch up.
The
change
switch up. I thought was it the change up or the switch
I
up?
don't know. The switch.
I think-
the
switch 'em up.
Chase?
Yeah,
the chase with Christy Swanson and Charlie Sheen
Yeah, it's the
when they
getaway.
switch places.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So those are all body swap movies.
And-
we also,
and-
we also
and-
did Freaky with our friend Barbara Crampton on
And-
the show.
Yeah, that's true. And Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde is the one with Sean Young, right?
Yeah, and
Yep.
Tim Daly.
Okay.
I think
Tyne
that's it.
Daly?
Yeah, Tyne Daly was in it.
A tiny daily.
Where was I?
No, see, Tyne Daly is getting a little smaller. Tiny Daily in theaters this
Hold me
fall.
closer, Tyne Daly.
You see that, Daly? Boy, that's huge.
No, it would be Tyne Daly saying that stuff.
No,
oh,
that's
boy.
Tiny Elvis next
Oh,
to
Tiny Elvis is even tinier than Tiny Daly. I see.
Yeah.
Or Tyne Daly. Okay.
Yeah, I have it all mapped out on this chart.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot of yarn between those pictures of Tyne Daly and Tiny Elvis. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a lot to say about Love Hurts, don't we?
Rose explains she's back from the fake dead because she wants to get their lives back. She takes them on a joyride trying to get the old killer to come out.
She says, hello, you fool. I love you. Want to go on a joyride.
Yeah. Rock
The Raven and Ashley continue to fall in love. Marvin takes Rose to one of his unsold properties as a safe house, and they argue about getting their lives back. And, this is where they're supposed to be reconnecting, but again, it doesn't really happen. Rennie, Cam Gijande,
Yep.
breaks into her apartment and shoots someone, but it's just a decoy mannequin that Rose has left with a message for him saying that she is Kippy, along with a bunch of incriminating financial info.
This was the point where I was like, it says, I've got Kippy on the side. And I was like, am I supposed to know who Kippy is already?
Well, fortunately, you meet him right now.
Yeah.
You meet him
He's
right
in
after.
Rose's trunk. It's played by Reese Darby,
Yeah.
possibly the only Reese Darby performance that never made me laugh.
Yeah, I love
Even
Reese
a little.
Darby. I love Reese Darby. And yeah, I mean, they don't give him much to do. They don't give him enough to do.
They do
but-
give him some fake teeth.
They do
That's
give
the
him fake
worst
teeth.
part.
Yeah.
I think honestly, that is the fatal mistake that makes me not laugh at any of it. Because she pulls his front teeth off, his fake front teeth off when removing the duct tape that she had in his
Yeah.
mouth, and so then he's got these false gross broken teeth the
Yeah.
whole time. And it's supposed to be funny, but it just makes everything off-putting that he does.
And it's
Yeah.
weird because it's like, no, you have a very talented comedic performer. Just let him make it funny.
Yes.
Rose threatens Kippy with a taser, and we get the backstory, which is that Rose helps Rennie steal $4 million from Knuckles, and then Rennie put $2 million in the trunk of Rose's car for Knuckles to find,
Mm-hmm.
so Rennie could take Rose's place in the organization, while Kippy cooked the books so they could keep the remaining $2 million undetected. So everyone has that now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
All of the pieces are in place.
Fine.
There's a flashback to Rose at the quarry with Marvin where he was supposed to kill her, but he tells her to run instead.
I will say, the first time we see the two of them together, they are dressed so differently from what we're used to. And Marvin, when he was a monster hitman, has a mustache and wears kind of
I
like
love it.
a
Slick
blue
back
suit.
hair.
And
Yeah.
he looks like he's a character in a Leisure Suit Larry video game. Like it's
I
like
love it.
I
I
was
kind of
like,
love it, yeah.
I was suddenly
And
like,
her fit, her all white suit, also pretty
but it
cool.
feels so like this whole movie is not realistic. But then
Yeah.
the characters seem so cartoonish at that moment compared to before when they're at least wearing regular, everyday clothes. That I was like, what? Hold on a second, wait. So were they characters in Guys and Dolls for a moment, and then they came back to reality? Like,
well,
what
it's
is this?
also weird because it's like he's doing what he wants to do as a realtor.
Yes.
And it's just weird to me that it's like, so was he spending a lot of time wearing these like fancy bad guy outfits? Like, was that a rule? Like, did he not have to do
It
that?
doesn't
Doesn't
seem
seem
like
like
him.
it's conducive to him being a battle boy.
But Knuckles was like, I need you to dress like one of the weasels in Roger Rabbit if you're going to do the job.
Like, he should have been like Danny the dog or something from that Jet Li movie. Like, he
Well,
should have been.
Yeah, the whole time it feels like they're trying to make him that character. Basically, the character like this is I crafted you into the ultimate killer, and then
Which
I
at
let you
least-
off your leash.
It at least would make sense if they're like he threw himself into being a killer because he was somebody who just needed direction. Because that's kind of what he has done as a realtor. That he is like taken a job and just pursued it. And that's why he was a killer, and then like he had a change of heart. But I don't know. It doesn't.
No, well, this movie is part of the problem with this movie is it's at cross purposes with itself because I feel like he does communicate that he likes being a realtor. He loves this job. He's enjoying his life for real. And you have Rose come in and say, you're lying to yourself. You're hiding. This isn't who you really are.
Yes.
And the movie wants him to be revealed as, no, he does have a killer inside of him, and he needs to bring it out. That is who he is. But that's not the performance that Quan is giving. Quan is giving a better performance of, no, he is a realtor at heart, and he wants to do that. And also, you know what, movie? The message should be, yes, it is better to be a realtor than to be a merciless killer.
Yeah.
But
I don't care which one looks cooler on screen. We want to live in a world of realtors, not in a world of assassins.
It certainly would have made more sense if he was like an assassin at heart who's just trying to play at being a realtor and he was bad at it.
Yes.
That would have been, at least that would have been a choice that would have maybe been funny and tied in with the rest of the movie as opposed to the choice they went with.
Or the idea that once if you have a character who likes his life, and Rose comes in and is throwing that out because she wants to be him to be someone different, is throwing that off. Her character has to be so charismatic that you're like that you're as tempted as he is. Whereas here, I kept thinking about the movie. I'm like, just go away. Like he had a good life, and you're wrecking it, but you're not bringing anything in addition.
Yeah.
And like you're just a bad influence all the way through. And maybe if that's the movie you're telling, then make her really bad. Make her a bad guy.
Yeah, I don't feel like he's going to be more self-actualized if he goes back to like murdering people.
No, I mean, there's another version of this movie which was not necessarily better, where he loses Regional Realtor of the Year. He does, and his boss is like, "Sorry, man, I know you want this job, but you just don't have the killer instinct." And then through becoming an assassin again, that intensity comes back, and then suddenly he's the best realtor in the world.
Yeah.
That's the arc that he's on, and this adventure helps him. Whereas here, it's like he's like, "I love my life. Ugh, all this stuff came in. You know what? I do love my life, and I will continue to be a realtor." It's like, why the hell did I just see you go through all this?
Yeah. So we see that Quarry flashback. He tells her to run, and then
Corey
meanwhile,
flashbacks? Was it Corey Feldman or Corey Haim?
yeah, Quarry flashback.
Quarry. Okay.
Back in the
Quarry
present,
Feldman.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the present, Rose is weirdly angry about why did you volunteer to kill me when it is pretty clear that it was to protect her, because if anyone else took that job, they would have just killed her. But Marvin has to explain it anyway, so the dumbest in the audience understand, I guess.
Yeah.
So back at Marvin's actual house, Cliff shows up to pick up the car, and he finds Knuckles and some of his muscle. And they have this conversation where Knuckles is obviously like menacing and angry that Cliff has become Marvin's surrogate brother rather than him, the real brother. And he reveals Marvin's dark past. And Cliff is so nice and forgiving that Sean Astin's going to get killed.
Yeah.
And he does get killed by Knuckles stabbing a boba straw into his eye, and blood dribbles out. And it's way too gruesome for the tone of this movie. Like, this is like the nicest guy who gets killed in this awful joke way.
My guess is this movie was originally probably a lot gorier, and that
Could be.
and they kept that in because I guess it's neat looking or funny that the blood pours out through the straw,
Yeah.
But I guess this was a much bloodier movie, and then they cut it back at some point. That's because the fight scenes feel otherwise so bloodless, even though people are getting slashed with blades and getting the shit kicked out of them. So I don't know. It does feel like there's Sean Astin's character. I guess it makes me not like the movie that Sean Astin's character is so sweet and then gets killed. And it's supposed to be like, no, this Knuckles guy, I really want him dead. But he was already a bad guy. We already don't like him. And
Yeah.
I feel like there's another version of this movie where Sean Astin's character is a little sleazy. Like maybe he's using Marvin a little bit.
Like the guy from Die Hard.
Yeah. So when he gets killed, it's like, but also not. You don't feel heartbroken, It's
Yeah.
the movie can't carry Sean Astin's death in this,
No, not at all. Marvin threatens Kippy, but is interrupted by people coming to see the house. And Rose is like, don't open that door. And Marvin says, I like my life now. But I am like, you can still try and keep your life as a realtor and not open the door right now while you're holding this guy hostage and there's a criminal thing going on.
Also,
And like in a better movie, this would be a great, like kind of a fun scene of like, we have this farcical thing where he has to show the house while this stuff is going on, but you have to make that inevitable. You can't just have him be like, no, I'm going to show the house
the whole
for no
movie,
reason.
The whole movie, he should be like, I have this appointment coming up to show this house.
Yeah.
And so I've got to get to that appointment. Like that should be his drive to get out of fight scenes. It's like, I can't be all beat to crap because I have to show this house. Because what it feels like also is this couple showed up randomly at a model house hoping that the realtor would be there that day to show them around. And it's like, that's not how realty works. Like a realtor doesn't just live at a model house waiting for his clients to show up. Like they would have an appointment.
Do you think this would have worked better if he hadn't won Regional Realtor of the Year at the start, but instead he knew that they were like judging by the end of the movie? So he was like, okay, so I have to show this house because I need to win this award, maybe?
Yes, I think so. I think if his whole drive the whole time should be, I gotta win this award. Like I can't let this get in the way of winning this award. And the joke there then is like, your life is in danger. Why do you care so much this? And then at the end of the movie, he went. They've judged him, and even they're like, you were able to protect your clients' lives. You won. And he goes and accepts the award, and he's all beat up and he's bloody all over, and he's giving a speech holding this certificate. It means so much to him, but he looks half dead. Like that would be such a funny.
That's better. That's better.
Yeah, we fixed it.
We fixed it. Love doesn't hurt anymore. Love fixed.
Mm-hmm.
The couple comes in to see the house. Marvin calls Ashley for the closing paperwork, but they're like, didn't you get the message? I quit. But Marvin convinces them to come to the house, which means the Raven also knows where Marvin is. But Ashley, because they've fallen in love, convinces the Raven not to kill Marvin, but take him in unharmed.
He'll kill Marvin. Nevermore.
Oh, damn.
Kippy escapes and calls. It's from the Poe.
Yeah, the Conqueror Worm.
M. Anyway, Poe M is what I said. Kippy escapes.
Yeah, we got it, Dan. We got it. Did you hear me laughing? It's not because I didn't get it.
Did you hear me laughing?
At your front door, baby.
Kippy escapes and calls
laugh,
Rennie.
Laughing at heaven's door.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
So tired.
Laugh
Kippy,
to my window, or whatever the song, that Melissa Etheridge song is.
That's a great laugh medley.
Yeah.
Kippy escapes and calls Rennie. Oh no, if the movie were better, things would be cooking now. Rose calls Rennie, references telling the Russians. Who are these Russians? We'll find out about the
probably
bad guy from Punisher,
the incriminating info she left him to find. And Rennie's like, if you want your money, come to the mob headquarters. So she drives off, leaving a Valentine for Marvin that says, hiding ain't living, which is kind of a repeated mantra in the movie.
Also, I would say for many people in difficult situations, hiding is living. Hiding is what keeps them alive. So I take it. It feels real entitled. This message.
Yeah. Raven and Ashley show up at the house. There's a non-violent standoff, which is interrupted with a violent standoff when Otis and King also show up and shoot up the place.
which I would say is so Raven.
That is so Raven.
That is so Raven. Yeah. Here's Otis and King.
I did like one bit here when they're the two thugs are there and they're about to fight, and they go and pull the novelty decorative massive silverware off the wall to use as weapons. I thought that was pretty fun.
That was fun. They do the thing here that happens a lot in action movies where two guys show up with automatic weapons and consistently shoot above everybody in the room. And it's like, just lower a little bit. And there's a part where I thought this was so funny, not on purpose, but that where one of the characters it's like he's being shot at, and then you see a shot of him just hiding behind something, and then the shot of the guy shooting the guns at that place, and it's like, so he stopped shooting for a second, so that the guy could, so that our hero could like go hide somewhere. The editing
Yeah.
tries to hide the fact that he should be dead right now. But the bad
Anyway.
guys, I feel like, I guess what I'm saying is they haven't really built up the threat of King and Otis. They seem to be consistently not good at their job.
Yes.
But-
But what?
They raised the stakes here in a second.
Well, they do. 'cause
Maybe
the
maybe it's partly also because I will say,
Huh?
if I'm an assassin and I'm trying to kill somebody, I would try to
Okay.
shoot them before I just shoot out a bunch of windows and then pick
Yeah,
up
yeah.
the person and throw them across the room. There's a lot of throws, you know.
Yeah. If I was an assassin, I would just shoot them with a sniper rifle, but maybe I'm just built different.
If I were an assassin, I'd be better at killing.
I just always wonder in movies when you have it like an Uzi or something, why you don't just spray all over the place so you're bound to hit him at some point, as opposed to shooting in one direction the entire time and letting the person hide behind something. Or there's a later someone. It's one of those things where someone has a pump action shotgun and someone else is hiding behind a rack of videos or something, and instead of going around the corner and then firing the gun, he's just walking while firing a pump action shotgun at nothing. You know, and it's like,
I mean,
dude, you know,
all,
you're not hitting anybody.
You
They're
get all
not-
worked up, Elliot. I mean, you
guess
start
so.
you start racking that thing, and you're like, hell yeah.
But it's like if you can't see them, you're not going to hit them with your gun. You know, it's the bullet's not going to a shotgun bullet's not going to ricochet off something and hit
Yeah, but
somebody.
you might
that way.
like pin them in place, and then they'll allow you to do a flanking maneuver, right?
I
Dan?
guess so.
hmm Let me get back to the summary. The karate realtor.
I'll give more assassin advice later in the show in my regular Kalen's Killer Corner.
More like Dead Vice.
More like dad advice.
The karate realtor I mentioned way back at the beginning is showing a house nearby. He sees what's going on. He jumps in to help Marvin because he's an overconfident karate black belt. And honestly, he's really fun and goofy. So, of course, he gets shot through the head, and there's a big hole in his head.
They do a classic
And
hard-boiled shot, hard-boiled
another-
Jeff Darrow type shot. You know, Quick of the
Another
Dead type.
likable character getting too gruesomely killed for my taste in this movie. Like, and if it was like a dark comedy, like if it was really like leaning into that, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But the tone is way wrong.
It also
Mark-
is too bad because he in those moments is the funniest character in the movie.
Yeah, he's really likable. Marvin and Raven fight off the goons while Marvin still tries to close the sale. And there's this scene where Marvin tells a couple, "Stay here until I come and find you." And they're never revisited, which makes me wonder if there was like a post-credit scene where they're still like waiting in the house that just got cut or
That's
something.
possible because they do just disappear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even just a scene. I mean, there might have been a wrap-up scene with those characters that was cut, you know.
But they win their fight. Ashley stops Marvin from killing the Raven, reminding him that he was once a killer too, and that everyone can change. And somehow that's what sends him after Rose. Even though Rose is the one who doesn't want him to change. So I don't understand that.
I wonder if he feels like maybe I
moment.
can have it all. Maybe I can be a realtor and be in love with this Harley Quinn-esque,
Yeah.
chaos assassin. I
And
don't
you
know.
know Harley Quinn.
I know. And if anything,
Personally.
Harley Quinn, under my guidance, has reached a level of maturity that Raven does not have yet.
Yeah.
Or not Raven. That
Rose.
Rose does not have yet.
Speaking
Raven
of
is
Rose,
Raven's a better name for that character. I'm sorry. Rose
Yeah.
should be called Raven. Raven should be called Wordsworth. Like that. They should have different names.
yeah.
Rose tries to get her money from Rennie, but he's had the truth beaten from him by Knuckles, and goons surround her. Marvin shows up, and Rose is like, "I need all of you." So Marvin crushes his glasses to Hulk out. But again, not really different from the rest of the movie.
No, well, what's different here is it's set to my first, my last, my everything.
Yeah.
In the same way as they did in Argyle, where I'm like, shut up, stop doing this. I'm tired of it. No more ironic songs to bloody fight scenes. No, thank you. We've seen it.
Yeah. They beat up the goons.
Oh, you know what? Would it
Rose-
work if she
what?
said, "I need all of you," and then he fought while singing, "All,
All
of me.
of me.
Why not kill all of me?"
Yeah, that'd be better.
Yeah.
Rose kills Rennie. There's a big fight between Knuckles and Marvin where Marvin just barely wins and tries to walk away. But Knuckles comes after him with a bat, and Rose shoots him in the shoulder and turns him over to the Russian mob, whose money it was really the whole time, less her finder's fee. Everything's wrapped up.
Did it bother you
Except
guys?
for-
They do the thing. I think they do it in the John Wick movies, right? When there's a subtitle, when it's subtitling a foreign language, instead of having it along the bottom, it's like in big letters on the screen.
That bother me?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind it. Why would it bother me?
I don't know because it bothers me, and I'm trying to figure out why. You know,
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I
Um,
think it's okay. It's a style choice that
Yeah,
doesn't always
yeah.
work,
If I don't
but
see-
I don't.
if it's
too
just
much.
me being a stickler, that's okay.
There's a brief Valentine's Day montage to tie everything up. Ashley
Guys,
and the
did the
Raven.
ghost of Gary Marshall make this movie in the
Yeah,
end?
it feels like it.
Ashley and the Raven are together. King and Otis, who got sliced
And did you
up.
know that Gary Marshall got to start as a fight choreographer, right?
Yeah, he did. That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
If he's choreographed the fights on Happy Days. Yeah.
King and Otis, who got sliced up so much, I presumed they were dead before.
They
Lie on
should
the
be dead.
floor.
Like he's literally slicing their bellies and stuff and
Yeah.
cutting their hamstrings. Like they should have bled out. They should be dead. But
No, they were too likable to die. Otis's wife texts him to reconcile.
only the most likable characters in the movie get gory on-screen deaths. Yeah.
Marvin pulls his shades down and looks at Rose while she's tending bar with a voiceover saying, "As much as love hurts, it's totally worth it." And then credits roll, and it just feels like such an anticlimax.
No,
They
it is.
didn't know how to end this thing.
Didn't know how to end it, or there was an ending and they changed it and cut it. Maybe that was
Yeah.
a reshot ending. I forgot entirely this strip bar she's in that points up the double
It's like a
standard.
roadhouse, yeah.
Yeah, but it points up the double standard of American society that we can see a bloody hole through the head of a recently murdered likable character, but the strippers have to be wearing full butt covering panties and bras and just walk around slowly in their underpants. You know,
Yes.
the
yeah.
I guess what I'm saying, Dan, is I like to see the human body celebrated rather than mangled.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It
I
does
do not recommend the Final Destination franchise.
Okay. I've heard. I go there with my wife. I've heard it's a real celebration of the human body. So love hurts. What is it? Time for final judgment, Stan?
It is time for final judgments. Whether it's a good bad movie, a bad movie, or a movie you kind of liked. I'll say this is a bad movie. I do enjoy seeing Ke Huy Quan. He's good in it as much as you could make this work. There's some like small sporting roles
He has
I
such
enjoy.
he has such a natural, likable charisma that makes
Yeah.
you wish that he did not have that time in his career when he could not find the right roles for him, or when Hollywood was not offering him roles. And like it makes you wish that he was in a much better vehicle for his charisma than this, because he is a very charismatic performer.
But it's obviously been cut to hell, and it just doesn't work. I think that some of the fixes that we've proposed would make it at least passable, but they aren't. They didn't get our notes in time. They're getting them now,
Yeah.
well after the release. So I say it's bad.
They should have showed us the work print. Yeah.
Yeah, we're the Monday morning movie makers. I'm going to agree. I think it's a bad movie. I'm not going to lay the blame at really any of the performers, but it does feel like there's some like conceptual flaws in the basic choices made in the movie. And the people that don't work as well in the movie, I think, are more miscast. It's kind of a stinker.
I am also going to call it a bad movie. Yes, I'm not going to blame any of the performers. I'm going to, as I always do, I'm going to blame whoever was giving notes on the movie. It's a movie that it's trying so hard to be a specific type of kind of like fun, violent, semi-romantic comedy that I feel like the 90s tried out over and over again and could rarely got the right balance of. And here they failed to get that balance too. But the whole time I was watching it, it was like, this felt like, I was like, maybe, I assume it's not, but it felt like a script that might have been kicking around since Pulp Fiction came out and then got gussied up with kind of like John Wick type fighting or stuff.
It doesn't help that it came out after Nobody, which does basically everything this movie does except for the tone better. And that it came out the same year as Hard Eyes, which is a slasher rom-com that again like plays with like a non-traditional love story but is actually successful.
Yeah. But I just hope all these performers get that it's not taken as their problem and they get to and they do more and better stuff.
After 400 episodes, the Maximum Film universe is kicking off a brand new phase.
We have got a brand new host, hilarious writer and comedian Kevin Avery.
Hey, that's me.
Kevin's teaming up with me, film critic Alonso Duralde.
And me, producer and film festival programmer Drea Clark.
Together, we're taking on summer blockbuster season by talking about some of the biggest movies in theaters.
That makes this the perfect time to join the Maximum Film Gang.
Reserve your Maximum Film ticket.
Pre-order your Maximum Film custom popcorn bucket.
We're trying to say it's a great time to start listening to the podcast.
So jump back into the continuing adventures of Maximum Film every week on MaximumFun.org.
Hey, do you have a favorite episode of Star Trek?
If you do, you should also have a favorite Star Trek podcast.
Greatest Trek is about all the new streaming Star Trek shows, and it's a great companion to The Greatest Generation, our hit show about back catalog Star Trek that you grew up with.
It's a comedy podcast by two folks who used to be video producers, so it's a serious mix of comedy and insight that fits right into the Maximum Fun network of shows.
And Greatest Trek is one of the most popular Star Trek podcasts in the world.
So if you're following Lower Decks, Prodigy, or Strange New Worlds, come hang out with us every Friday as we roast and review our favorite Star Trek shows.
It's on MaximumFun.org, YouTube, or your podcatching app.
The Flophouse is sponsored by nobody this week. If you want to
The
sponsor
movie?
the Flophouse, no. So buy some ad time on the Flophouse. But I have some things to promote, so I'm going to talk about them. As it's the same stuff I'm always talking about. As you know, my new children's book, Sadie Mouse Wrecks the House, it's on store shelves now. Go pick it up. Kids love this book. I've been getting a lot of good feedback on it. It is hilarious. It's about a mouse who's tired of being the good kid and is going to do her chores bad, so she never has to do them again. And she wrecks the house. Super fun. Kids will love it. Adults who are immature will also like it. Sadie Mouse Wrecks the House in stores now. Go to your independent bookstore and buy it. Go to your comic book store, and why not pick up Harley Quinn, coming out monthly from DC Comics, written by me. I've been writing it for a while now. I'm about to hand in the script for the issue that I think makes this the longest run I've ever done on a comic book. And right now, there's no end in sight. So please keep picking it up. Harley Quinn, it's the story of everyone's favorite Harley Quinn, and she's having adventures, and the emphasis is just on having fun, being funny, doing adventures. And this is a long way in the future, but we are about 5 months away from the release of my book about joke writing, Joke Farming, from the University of Chicago Press. So I'm not going to mention it a lot until we get closer to the release, when I'm going to mention it a lot. But get ready for that. Mark your calendars that it's coming out in November, Joke Farming. And I think the subtitle is How to Write Comedy and Other Nonsense or something like that.
Mhm.
And it is hopefully the only joke writing manual that you will need that will explain literally the mechanics of how a joke works and how I write them.
Wow.
Also, a week after this episode drops, I believe, is June 14th, which is the Brooklyn Pride Parade in Brooklyn, New York, along Fifth Avenue. And my bar, Commonwealth, is along that strip. And that whole area turns into a really huge party. And if you're looking for a place to pee and get a drink, you should check out
In
Commonwealth.
that order, or can we do it the other way around?
Depends. It depends on, how bad you have to go when you get there.
And then 5 days after that is my birthday. So
Yep.
we've all got equally important plugs.
Yeah. So Dan, when are you? You're inviting all the Flophouse listeners
You're
to come to
inviting
your birthday
everyone to
party?
your birthday?
Nope.
Uh-huh.
If they can find it, they can't find it.
So it's like the A-Team. If you're a fan of Dan's and you can find him, celebrate his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let's do some letters from listeners.
Let's do it.
Listeners.
Yeah, I feel like that's what people on the internet need, is more of an excuse to try harder to find Dan.
Well, he is the mole, right? You have to find. He's running across the country, and you've got to find him. How did that game show
wow.
work?
Yeah, that's how the show works, right, Dan?
I think of myself as more of a Waldo.
Oh yeah.
A great Waldo Pepper.
Pepper. What's my Scoville rating?
Hot.
This is from Mark, last name withheld, who writes,
Mark Kalin, my dad.
Mark Wellington, my dad.
wow, you both, wow, this
That's
is a
why.
real Batman
That's
versus
why.
Superman.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
about to kill each other, and then we remembered
we were
we had the same
we were
dads.
fighting in an abandoned men's room, and then we realized our dads have the same name, so we should join forces to stop whoever the bad guy was in that movie.
Mhm. Mastermind, I think.
This
Yo, I think it was
probably
Toy Man.
Mastermind. This is titled Personal Non-Canon Sequels. Hello from London.
Good day.
Love the flop. I have a query about personal non-canon sequels. Alas, Another Simple Favor didn't recapture the magic of the first movie, despite the lead still having that chemistry. In an attempt to further the story, the movie took the characters into places that semi-ruined the joy of the first. So I've decided to remove the sequel from my headcanon so I can just enjoy A Simple Favor as originally intended. Do you have any sequels that you'd also like to remove from your existence? Thanks for reading. P.S. My Simple Favor sequel would have adhered much more to a Silence of the Lambs style plot structure, but with more martinis and fabulous outfits in replacement for cannibalism. I'm not sure how that would. I guess Anna Kendrick would have to visit Blake Lively in prison to capture someone else.
Yeah.
Is that what the implication is?
I assume so, yeah. But with and cannibalism would be in there.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of sequels, I would remove Hannibal from My Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, it's
not the
good.
show, the TV show Hannibal, of course,
Yeah, it's
can
great.
exist, but the movie kind of ruins, I think,
Probably
Clarice
a
Starling's,
weak spot of old Ridley Scott's
Yeah.
career.
Yeah.
I mean, I do this all the time. I'm like, well, didn't like that one. Doesn't exist in my personal cosmology of these characters.
Yeah,
you know?
you were yelling at me about The Last Jedi, right?
Love The Last Jedi. Don't, but like, this is why I don't actually. I mean, like, I get annoyed if like I was looking forward to a movie and it sucks, as anyone might. But I don't get like angry the way people seem to. Like, that ruined everything. Like, well, you can just pretend it doesn't exist, man.
Well, the trick is, as you get older and you develop a rich, full life, you don't care as much.
I mean, that is a big part of it. I think if you feel like you have some sense of control over any element of your own life, then you might feel less attached to the fictional lives of fictional characters. But I don't know. I mean, it's ones that, like, as far as I'm concerned, the Terminator series ends with Terminator 2. Like, there's no reason
I mean,
for other ones
Terminator
after
Salvation is a very clear one for me. I really dislike that.
that. And
But part 3 does have that bit where Arnold like head slams Christiana Loken into a toilet. That's kind of crazy. That's a crazy looking fight. And I like the most recent one a bit. The Terminator. What's Dark Future, Dark Fate?
Dark
Which
Fate.
one?
But like, those can exist sort of like as like, I don't know,
Supplementary
adjuncts,
material.
multiverse,
Well,
whatever.
It's like something I like about the Godzilla series is that at a certain point they decided every movie we make is a sequel to the 1954 Godzilla, and we'll disavow the previous sequels. And they've done a number of sequels in a row where they all ignore every movie made previously, including the one made most recently before that. And they're like, this is just how we're doing it. It's just different stories about Godzilla. We're not beholden to what happened to him before because we don't want to have to process all that. And it makes the character a little more special because it means that the people in the movie series don't have a familiarity with Godzilla the same way they would if there were literally 30 Godzilla adventures, that had happened in canon, in real life, Yeah,
it's like the first Godzilla is the like Big Bang moment, and that all the movies are like spread out from that one specific point.
All the other movies are the young Sheldons that come after that Big Bang. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for putting it in terms that I understand.
No problem. But I remember like when I was younger, like when Alien 3 came out, getting caught up in like how disappointing it was to have all the characters from Aliens that we liked just be dead,
Yes. For me, like it ends with aliens, and similarly, like there's stuff I like in.
There's stuff I like in some of the other movies. Yeah.
There's stuff I like in some of the other movies. There's stuff
Stuart,
I like in some of
Stuart's
the.
making a dubious face.
What the hell are you talking about?
I like them all, yeah.
There's some stuff I like,
Except for Romulus.
in the later Indiana Jones movies, but it ends for me with Last Crusade, like in terms of like taking it seriously. It's like these are movies I really like.
But part of the issue is there's, and I don't want to sound like a Last Jedi hating guy because this is the issue some people have with Last Jedi, is that when you do some of those much later sequels, they fall on that easy structure of the hero is bitter and has to be brought back in. And seeing Indiana Jones in that most recent one being a bitter old man separated from his wife and hating his job, it was just like, I don't care if he is going to have another adventure. Like this is a depressing way to think this character is going to age up, as opposed to Luke Skywalker and Last Jedi, where I'm like, I do like the idea of a hero who has that's on such an operatic level, the Star Wars movies, that if he's a tragic figure who has failed his own principles, then I'm like, oh, well, that's a meaty thing. Whereas Indiana Jones does not operate on that level for me. So to see him as just like, yeah, he was an adventurer and now he hates every aspect of his life and he's just he's just a bitter old man. It's like, oh, well, that's disappointing.
Maybe I'm just a sad person, but I liked the most recent one. I had more of a problem with Crystal Skull, even though there's a couple things in there I like, where it's just, I feel like it has a lot of the same problems, but also a lot of other extra problems.
Dial of Time or whatever is
Dial
Dial of Destiny.
I haven't even seen that one. Should I see that one?
I think it's good.
It's fine. It's better than Crystal Skull, but it's a movie that I will say I liked it. I didn't like it at the beginning.
Is Mutt back?
Mutt is not back. I
No,
liked
he's
it.
pointedly not back.
I liked it more. It would have won me over more.
They show you the grave.
He has like a shrine to Mutt, and it just says like, oh yeah, he was killed when he tried to ride a motorcycle into a train or something like that.
Yeah.
But I liked that movie as it went on because it got sillier and sillier, or it got bigger and bigger.
Okay.
So
We got one more question from a listener. This is from John, last name withheld.
Mhm.
Subject is Salacious Crumb.
one of my favorite subjects.
Message body. Is he a pet or a friend? Thanks.
He is an employee. He is both a pet and an employee. He's not a friend. Jabba has no real friends. When you're that rich and that powerful and that dangerous, you don't have real friends. You only have people who are afraid of you or want to use you.
That's fucked up, Elliot. So you're saying when Salacious Crumb is like loving it and laughing his ass off, he's performing that way? He's not doing that out of actual joy?
Here's the great thing about Salacious Crumb. He loves his work. So that is the real joy. Luckily, he found the job that was right for him, which is as a pet who enjoys seeing his owner throw people to the Rancor pit. So when Salacious Crumb is
and
laughing,
letting him torment droids.
yes, that's a genuine laugh. The same way that when I am working and I'm in the writer's room and we're genuinely coming up with really fun ideas and enjoying it, and I laugh heartily, it's like, man, this is what a great conjunction of work and also what gives me pleasure. And Salacious Crumb lives the dream of having that every single day until the barge explodes and he dies in a fireball.
Yeah, I heard those complaints that in the writer's room, you're always laughing like Salacious Crumb. And they're like, it's kind of off-putting.
They would be so lucky if I laughed like, oh, that would be wonderful. I should do that on Monday.
Yeah.
But yeah, Salacious Crumb he's an employee pet, but
He's like a hype man, right? Like he's
yes, yeah. Maybe
He's definitely like a hype man. Yeah.
When Kendrick Lamar goes mustard and mustard comes out, that's what Jabba the Hutt would do. Go Salacious, and then Salacious Crumb would come out. It's the same relationship. Yeah. Same relationship.
And on my blacklight poster, Salacious Crumb would be Morty and Jabba would be Rick, right?
I guess so.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, wait. Well, actually, I'm not so sure about that.
Stuart, we have to stop relating everything to your blacklight posters.
Okay.
I don't think that everything in the world can be
No, we were
defined
talking about Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Stuart's like, but who is he on my blacklight poster?
Yeah. Is he the unicorn that's flying through outer space, or is he the world snake that's devouring itself?
Yeah, is he the butterfly winged tiger that the barbarian queen is riding? Or?
Oh
Okay.
man.
Let us go then, you and I,
To a magical land.
Take my hand.
to recommendations.
We'll make it, I swear.
Movies that we saw that we enjoyed, perhaps a little bit more than Love Hurts. So much that we would go so far as to say you might enjoy them as well. And I saw on Hulu, I just watched Summer of '69, which
You thought it was something different from the number in the title.
well, actually, it means that in the movie they're
never
referring
mind
to that. Like this could just be like Hulu slop. Like you.
Give me an example. Drop some Hulu slop
I don't
on me.
know. Just like
I love the idea that in our world the phrase Hulu slop means something, and it's not just like a funk performer from the 70s. Here's a cut you don't hear much from Hulu slop. Yeah.
I feel like for the most part, the Hulu, like direct to Hulu stuff, is at least a step above Netflix. Maybe I'm
I think that's
misremembering
probably
things.
true, but there is like a
I
type
think
of
you're
just
right.
like
Yeah.
baseline glossy, but it's not even like this. I feel like in the old days, you would find gems in direct to video or direct to streaming stuff, but the idea was mostly like, oh, this fell short of what could be theatrical, and so it ended up here. Whereas now, like the bar has been lowered a lot of the time, and now it's just like, well, this is something you can kind of pay attention to.
Wasn't Lake George a recent Hulu original?
I think. Well, I mean, it was in
Not
theaters.
original. Oh, okay.
I don't know whether it was. I don't know. I don't know how
Don't know the deals. Okay.
the deals were structured. But anyway, Summer of '69 has Chloe Fineman from Saturday Night Live, and it has the main character.
She was also in Megalopolis, Dan.
Sure. The main character is played by
Thank you for correcting that, Stuart.
Sam Morelos. I don't know if I'm saying the last name correctly, but she was apparently in that
from
90s show.
That 90s show, yeah.
But she was terrific in this. Like they were both really good.
I like Sam Morelos a lot. Yeah, I think she's a funny performer.
This is like a teenage sex comedy. The idea is that the Sam Morelos character has this crush. She hears a rumor that her crush is really into 69ing. She is a nerd. She knows nothing of sex. Like she can't. It's like goes beyond like just something that she could Google. She like wants to feel confident, so she employs Chloe Fineman's stripper character to like sort of teach her this sort of thing. But this is a very broad setup. But what I liked about this movie is like once this broad sort of sex comedy setup happens, it then turns into kind of a sweet odd couple friendship comedy between the two of them, and one that feels realistic where Fineman's character is sort of prickly and mean to this nerd kid through a lot of it, rather than being like just having a heart of gold. And she's got her own concerns. She wants like the money that this kid is offering for her own reasons.
So that she can learn how to 69.
She wants to buy the strip club. So she's a businesswoman. And there's a warmth there, like, and the teenager character is nerdy in a specific way rather than sort of just being an off the shelf like wallflower. I thought it was really kind of warm and weirdly realistic for such a broad setup, ultimately, in a way that I enjoyed. So that's what I saw recently that I liked.
I'm going to recommend a little crime movie that came out last year called The Order. Stars Jude Law, you got some Ty Sheridan, you got some Nicholas Hoult, and it's based loosely on a true story about the FBI being interested in a series of robberies, and those turn out to be linked to a white supremacist cult organization led by Nicholas Hoult, which I think is kind of fun casting because he's old, he's a little baby face. And
a little old baby face.
He is neither little nor old. But.
The movie I think has some really good tense moments, and I think it's like a solid little crime thriller. And it's also, I think, this flavor of Jude Law, where he's like kind of older and grizzled. That might be my new favorite Jude Law flavor, guys. He's got a mustache.
Oh, the new Jude Law flavor is out of Baskin
Yeah,
Robbins.
you got to try it. Head over.
Yeah, I'm tired of cookies and Jude. That was the old flavor.
No, thanks. If you're looking for like a tight little crime thriller that is set in the 70s, I think, so you get some really cool outfits, check it out.
I'm going to recommend a documentary, or rather a documentary series. It is neither tight nor little. It is a 2-part documentary series that was just recently released on Max.
If it's The Last Dance, I will be blown away.
No, I do want to see The Last Dance. I still haven't watched it yet. I've heard it's great. It's on Max, which is soon to be called HBO Max because renaming it Max was dumb. But this is the 2-part series, Pee-wee as Himself, the documentary.
Oh, yeah. I've been
by
looking
Matt
forward
Wolf,
to watch that.
about Paul Rubens. It's really good, and it's really there's a. I've been a fan of Pee Wee Herman and Paul Rubens since I was a kid, and he's always seemed to me one of those figures where it's like it's hard to imagine him as a real person because he's so associated with the Pee Wee character. And there was something very illuminating to me about seeing him on camera really as himself and being, you're reading about the documentary, people talk about like he's combative with the director and stuff like that. And he's very like prickly at times, but in a way that is intriguing and not, and that reveals more about himself in some ways. And just seeing, learning his full story of like where he came from and how he developed that character and how he developed as an artist and a performer was really fantastic and fascinating. And I got to see what Gary Panter looks like now.
Oh, wow.
as an old man. So because they interview him a little bit. The
Does he look like one of his drawings? That's how I imagine
no,
him.
he doesn't look like one of his drawings. No, but I thought it was really good. And a friend of the podcast, Jesse Thorne, who worked with Paul Rubens on an audio project at one point, he said that it really felt like it gave the idea of what it's like to be around Paul Rubens and like working with him, and so that really fit his experience. So I really recommend it. I think it's great. There's this just a phenomenal amount of archival footage of him as a young performer, which was really fantastic and fascinating. So Pee-wee as himself, I recommend.
Well, guys, that's it. Another one for the books. I really enjoyed this. I've been alone in the house for 2 days, so this I really needed to hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here, and thank you, listeners, for being wherever you are on the other end of these radio waves, these podcast waves.
I don't think you know how podcasts work, Dan.
No, I don't. Is it elves? Do elves
Yeah,
bring them?
it's little elves
might
that,
be,
that
yeah.
jump in your ear and whisper what we're saying in our
How
voices.
they
Yeah.
slide down a Mumakil's trunk and delivers a podcast to you.
Thank you to our producer, Alex Smith. He goes by the name Howell Dottie all over the internet. You can listen to his music. He does Twitch streams. He does a lot of stuff. Thank you to Maximum Fun. If you go to MaximumFun.org, you can listen to all kinds of great podcasts. I was going to say a lot, and then I realized the vowel sounds I was making were not going to fit into where I was going. So,
Interesting.
but if you enjoy this podcast, you'll probably like one of the other ones. Why not give them a shot? But anyway, for the Flophouse, I've been Dan McCoy.
Yeah, I've been Stuart Wellington, partner.
Whoa, okay.
And I'm still Elliot Kalin. I just can't react. I don't know how to react to Stuart becoming John Wayne all of a sudden.
I'm a new guy there, partner.
Oh.
I can't wait to find out who Stuart is next time. I'm Elliot Kalin for now, though.
Bye. On this episode, we discuss Love Hurts.
Does it ever? Wait, no, I got a better one. I got a better one.
Okay. Seemed too real.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
supported
directly
by you.